Hey, everybody, welcome back to Pickleball For All. This is our second episode. Appreciate you tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about the most common mistakes that every rec player makes. I'm a rec player, so I make a ton of these mistakes. And I'm excited to introduce Cooper Weseli, the Pickleball Factory director of pickleball. Cooper, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, man. Cooper, tell us a little bit about you and your background and in pickleball.
I didn't have much racket sports in me growing up. Grew up in Mississippi and played football, basketball, just about any ball sport you could think of. No racket sports growing up. And then I moved up to Cape Girardeau about 4 years ago and was playing basketball with my wife in the Jackson Civic Center up here, and some guys were playing with a little wiffle ball and some paddles and getting in the way of the courts, and I was like, who are these dorks?
Right.
And several months later, somebody invited me out to play outside, and now I'm one of those dorks.
Right. That's how the addiction starts. It starts pretty fast,
yeah.
But you're hard to get there. It's hard to get there, but once you start playing, you become a dork pretty fast.
Yeah. And then you're playing 6 days a week or 7 days a week,
right.
And you don't see your family hardly ever. So
right, that's exactly. I mean, kind of the same way I got into the game. My trainers at my gym were like, "Hey, man, you should come out and play pickleball," and I'm like, "I'm not playing pickleball. Are you crazy? I'm not. That's for old people." And they were like, "Oh, you're a former Division I athlete, and you'll pick it up pretty fast." And I'm like, "That's fine, but I'm not going to play." Well, they finally, after a few weeks, I agreed to go out there and play, and I spent the first hour to 2 hours just getting absolutely worked by a bunch of 75-year-old ladies. And because the game is not necessarily about power. No. It's about positioning, court positioning, right. Knowing where to hit the ball. And I picked up on that pretty fast because they had me running around like a chicken with its head cut off. And but
I think that's kind of everybody's rite of passage is to get beat by a bunch of old ladies a couple days in a row.
It is. And I have. So, those mistakes that rec players make, are there some common ones that you kind of see?
I think there's two or three that everybody starting out surely makes, and I think one of the biggest ones is just playing the game way too fast.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
Swinging too hard, running up to the kitchen. Everybody gets excited about learning about that whole zone and getting up to it, and they want to get up to it immediately. And us guys that have played it for 3 or 4 years understand that it's really more of a meticulous process and less of a rush up.
Right.
And I think slowing down the game early is a good way to have success early on playing.
I've noticed that. Like last night, watching you play and a bunch of our advanced players play that really slow to react, but fast when the ball's there.
Right.
Like slow to react, knowing that where you're supposed to be.
And a lot of that comes with thinking about the shots before you get to that point.
Right.
Or being at the ball before the ball bounces.
Correct.
And a lot of that's just understanding the game and having that experience. But I think if you can slow it down in your head, just like anything else in life, usually slowing things down,
right,
helps you out in the long run.
And I've noticed too, it's kind of a process of elimination. When you hit a ball to your opponent at a certain height, at a certain place, you kind of know the few shots they can hit from that.
Right.
So you're prepared before
correct
they hit it back.
If you understand your opponents, it probably takes a few points if you're a tournament or a league and you've never played with somebody before, but generally you can get the gist of somebody's play in 3 to 4 shots into a game.
Right.
And then you just have to understand those patterns. But at a beginner's level, understanding what your opponent's going to hit at you is easier if you're slowing it down in your head and you're taking it shot by shot and not getting caught up in the game.
Right.
The way our points are played, being an 11-point game, you speed it up too fast in your head and you're not hitting the right shots, all of a sudden you're down 7 points and the game's pretty much over.
Yeah, I've been there. I was there last night a few times, actually.
Yeah.
So playing too fast is the first one. What do you think the second biggest mistake?
I would say just not dinking. I think a lot of people right out the gate just want to hit it as hard as they can, and
Right.
You know, being able to understand where your paddle should be for a high ball or a low ball. Paddle placement is a big one for sure, but I think just mainly not building a dink rhythm right off the bat. And part of that's because at a beginner's level, the reset game is not understood at all.
Correct.
And the reset game is that's something that takes, I would say for most people it takes months to really get a third shot drop in a reset game going.
Sure.
To allow you to even, get to a point where you can have a dink pattern or a dink game going. But I think slowing down, as part of slowing down your game too, is not hitting those hard shots, not going for the drive as soon as the ball gets to you.
Right.
And trying to get that ball over the net so you can move up a little bit, and that all slows the game down as well.
We could do a whole show on resetting.
100%.
I mean, I think it's one of the most important aspects of the game to advance, to keep going up.
Absolutely.
Because you watched last night, and as I was standing there watching you guys, the advanced players, and then on the other side of the building, it was not really beginners, but people that just kind of play casually.
Mm-hmm.
You noticed on your side that everybody wanted to get to the kitchen line, and there would be a series of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dinks that are going back and forth of just kind of positioning people.
Right.
And you watch the other side with all the kind of rec players, and most of the points were scored within the first 3 shots.
Correct.
So to advance to your level, the patience in the game is super important in resetting that ball.
And okay, there you go. That's a great point that you just made without saying it, is not making every shot a finished shot.
Right. That's a huge thing.
And beginner players are all about, they want to hit a nice shot, or they want to hit something fancy, or they want to kill the ball as soon as it gets above their hips.
Yep. Kill.
Advanced players understand that there's almost a rhythm to every point, and I think a lot of building to a point or building to finishing a shot is hitting 6 or 7 shots that may just be placement over power, or placement over a finishing shot. And a lot of what we do at a higher level is, you're building a rhythm. You're really waiting for your opponent to hit that ball up so you can finish it,
right?
Rather than creating a finishing shot, which is a lot of beginner players are just trying to create shots that aren't there.
Right. I totally agree. That's kind of me.
Yeah, it's me too sometimes.
So, playing too fast, not resetting. What do you think the next one? Biggest mistake?
I would say not focusing on developing anything past a forehand shot. I think a lot of players from beginner to low intermediate level are forcing themselves to stay with the forehand and not teaching themselves a backhand swing or a proper technique on an overhead or paddle placement in general. But I think a lot of players at the beginner level probably they're just comfortable where they're at, hitting that forehand dink or the forehand shot.
Yep.
And they'll move around, or they'll pull their hand out to the right side if they're left-handed, to the left of the right, rather than flipping that paddle over and
for me,
developing that backhand.
It's one of the biggest tells. So if I hit a shot that's supposed to be to their backhand and they move their feet to hit their forehand, it tips off, okay, they're not very comfortable with their backhand, so I'm going to hit at their backhand every time.
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then when you get to a little bit past that, some advanced players play the style of, well, if I can get around to it, if I'm quick enough, I'll get around to it and hit my forehand anyways. And then you kind of lose that. But at a beginner level, generally you can kind of test people by seeing what shots they can't hit.
Sure.
But that all, like I said, comes back to slowing the game down.
Right.
Because if you hit those shots where you can actually test your opponent and you're not just trying to finish the ball, then you can really break down your opponent.
Do you think
in a game?
This is kind of off script? Do you think it's important for people, rec players, to watch advanced players like you and your group last night?
It happened last night. I definitely think it is. Me personally, I went up to watch MLP play at Sheffield Arena in St. Louis. The St. Louis Shock hosted, and I can tell you just from watching that for a full day, my game was better immediately
Yeah.
From the time I watched that to the next weekend I was playing.
Just like any sport, mental reps are super important.
Right. And I think watching the sport on TV, watching the PPA, watching the APP, watching these high level gold medal, silver and bronze matches,
Right.
and then just watching your local better players.
Sure.
It definitely translates over, especially if you're a visual learner.
Right. Right.
Not everybody is, but I think definitely focusing on what good players are hitting, what shots, and how they're hitting those shots can translate to your game effectively.
Awesome.
Probably.
So other mistakes rec players like me make?
Not drilling.
Yeah, that's an important thing.
Yeah.
So what do you think the good ratio is between playing and drilling?
Well,
because most people just think they can go in and play.
If you're crazy like Ben Johns, you'll never play rec play and you'll drill every day of your life. And that's what he does.
Okay.
And if you want to look at some of the greats, that's kind of Ben Johns is an outlier. But a lot of your greats drill way more than they play.
Right.
Rec play is almost messes up their game.
Sure.
Because they're not focusing on proper technique for every shot. And then they get in rec play and different situations happen, especially when you're not playing with people that are all 6-0s or all 7-0s.
Sure.
But, yeah, I think a proper ratio for people at my level all the way down to beginners is just, I mean, out of a week, if you're playing 3 or 4 times a week, I would drill at least once a week.
Sure.
And start there.
Right.
But I mean, you'll be amazed how much just doing dink drills or 7-Elevens or hitting with a ball machine will help your game over time, especially if you're doing it once a week.
Yeah, awesome.
It's like if I go and do 25 push-ups every morning, eventually I'm going to get ripped.
Right.
Right?
Well, I hope. I don't know. I've done that before, and I haven't gotten ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Age catches up to you a little bit, Cooper.
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. Okay. What other mistakes rec players make?
I think we've gone over the good run of it.
So of all those mistakes, drilling, does that help the most with all those? Drilling, watching advanced players, watching the professionals can kind of help you overcome all those mistakes?
I think the biggest thing would just be playing as much as you can and doing everything you can to play with people that are better than you.
Right.
Yeah. Don't get yourself comfortable stuck on a court with, play with your friends all you want, but find that opportunity. If you can, ask nicely. Go up to some other guys that, they got 3 people on a court, jump on there. You're going to get beat 11-1.
Yeah.
Just jump on there anyways.
Sure.
That's how I got better.
Humble pie.
I forced myself onto those courts.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
awesome. Well, thanks, Cooper.
No problem.
We're going to do the factory forecast again. So in the first episode, I mentioned the $2 midday open play, which has been really successful so far.
Mm-hmm.
Just for those times during the day, especially during the holidays, I think that can be huge.
Right.
Just people coming and play during the midday like that. And I kind of teased a tournament coming up. Do you want to talk about that this week? You want to talk about that in a few weeks?
We'll wait a couple weeks.
Ooh, another tease.
Yep.
I like the double tease. Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate you all tuning in. And again, if you've got questions or if you've got topics that you'd like us to address, email us at info@picklecape.com. And next week or the next episode, we're going to talk about bangers, beating bangers, which I hate playing against those guys.
I do too.
Right.
And I'm one of them.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So we're going to talk about that in the next episode. But again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the courts because around here it's Pickleball for All.
See you guys.